Hello everyone, we are Lucian and Jack.
Welcome to our YouTube channel where we share our real married life. Don't forget to subscribe to support us.
Hello everyone, our dear friends of the channel. The chase that night did not end with gunshots nor with breathless confrontations like in an action movie. It ended in a silence so heavy that no one dared to breathe too loudly. Jack stood motionless inside an abandoned house on the outskirts of the city, the very place the police had forced their way into less than 10 minutes earlier. There was no one left inside, no screams, no pleading voices, only the damp smell of old walls, the stench of long-settled dust, and hurried footprints etched into the cold concrete floor, like the final traces of a nightmare that had just passed through. Then suddenly, in the darkest corner of the back room, a figure was discovered. Tu Tien. She lay curled up on the floor, her body trembling faintly, her eyes wide open yet completely empty, as if her soul had been taken away. When Jack rushed forward and collapsed to his knees in front of her, calling her name in panic, Tu Tien did not respond right away. It took several painfully long seconds before her eyes flickered, an almost imperceptible final reflex. The rescue was successful, but it was not the ending Jack had imagined during countless sleepless nights. Earlier, when Jack realized that the scarf was the final sign Tu Tien had left behind, he had no choice but to fully cooperate with the police. For the first time throughout those desperate days, he set aside all suspicion and personal calculations. He handed over every piece of data, call records, transaction histories, and information related to Tu Tien's ex-husband, holding nothing back. Because at that moment, he understood one thing clearly. If he was even one step too late, he might lose her forever. The investigation unfolded under unbearable tension. Locations were narrowed down, then ruled out one by one. Time dragged on slowly, as if deliberately torturing the nerves of everyone involved, until the smallest clue finally appeared, a blurry traffic camera clip capturing a motorbike riding against traffic in the early hours of dawn. From that moment, they traced their way to the abandoned house. Tu Tien was taken straight to the hospital in a state of severe exhaustion. Her body bore no major physical injuries, but after the examination, the doctor said a single sentence that made Jack feel as though his heart had fallen into an abyss. The most serious injury is psychological. Tu Tien barely spoke. She startled violently at any loud sound. On her first night in the hospital, she screamed in her sleep, her arms flailing as if fighting something that existed in her memories. Jack sat by her bed, holding her hand all night. But for the first time, he felt an unbearable distance between them. Even though they were only centimeters apart, he could not reach her. In the days that followed, Tu Tien was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. She feared the dark. She feared enclosed spaces. She even feared the sound of a ringing phone. Sometimes, if Jack stepped out of the room for just a few minutes, she would panic and burst into tears, calling her name unconsciously. But other times, she would sit silently by the window for hours, her vacant eyes staring into nothingness. Jack slowly realized a painful truth. He had rescued her from the kidnappers, but he had not yet rescued her from what they had left behind in her mind. Tu Tien began to withdraw into herself. She refused to meet strangers. She didn't want to go outside. She didn't want to appear in public. The woman who had once been strong, who had dared to face poverty, who had endured years of violent marriage, now feared the very house she lived in. Every night she dreamt the same dream: a dark room, a rope, and the shadowy gaze of her former mother-in-law. The dream repeated endlessly like an unbreakable curse. Once, in the grip of her trauma, she whispered a sentence so softly that it still made Jack freeze in place. If that day I hadn't been rescued, maybe everyone would feel relieved. Jack knew she didn't want to die. She was simply exhausted from having to keep living with fear. But he could not accept that thought. Yet for the first time in his life, Jack felt utterly helpless. He had faced deals worth hundreds of millions. He had stood on the brink of bankruptcy. He had been betrayed and pushed into situations with no way out. But never had he felt as helpless as he did now. He could not use money to erase Tu Tien's memories. He could not use power to make her forget those terrifying nights. All he could do was stay by her side, silently, patiently, and fearfully, afraid that his love might not be strong enough to pull her back. There were nights when Jack asked himself whether if he had never entered Tu Tien's life, whether she would have had to endure all of this. He began to blame himself, believing that his status, his presence, had inadvertently made her a target for desperate people. Their love, which they thought had already overcome the past, now stood before a trial harsher than any before. Not separation, but a long, suffocating silence between two people. And just when everyone believed the nightmare was over, Jack's phone rang, an unfamiliar number. The voice on the other end needed no introduction. Tu Tien's ex-husband was still out there. He spoke briefly and coldly, saying that everything was not over. He had not received what he wanted. He wasn't demanding another kidnapping. He wanted money, in exchange for his silence, in exchange for disappearing. Jack understood clearly this battle was not over. What no one expected was the first person to speak up was Tu Tien herself. After a long, sleepless night, she looked at Jack and said, her voice weak but resolute, that she could not keep running away. If she didn't confront it, the past would always come back for her. Tu Tien agreed to cooperate with the police. She told them everything, every detail, every incident of abuse, every threat, every moment inside that dark room. Each word made her tremble, but with each word, she took one step closer to pulling herself out of the darkness. Jack stayed by her side. He didn't say much. He just held her hand tightly. The most unexpected meeting finally happened. Her former mother-in-law came to the hospital. She looked much thinner. Her hair had turned grayer. The cruelty in her eyes was gone, replaced only by remorse. In front of Tu Tien, she knelt down. No excuses, no justifications, only tears and a plea for forgiveness. Tu Tien remained silent for a long time. Then she spoke slowly, saying that she could not forget, but she also did not want to carry hatred anymore. Outside, the ex-husband was yet to be captured. Inside, Tu Tien was still fighting herself, and Jack stood between two lines, protecting the woman he loved while facing dangers that had yet to fully surface. This battle was no longer about money or power. It was about whether love was strong enough to walk together to the end of a road filled with cracks. And that is the question the story will continue to answer in the next part. If you followed the story to this moment, don't forget to subscribe to Ly Tu Tien's story and turn on notifications so you won't miss what happens next. Leave a comment below, because who knows, your theory might be the missing piece of a story moving steadily towards its most intense climax.
Cuộc truy đuổi trong đêm kết thúc trong im lặng. Khi Jack và công an tìm thấy Tử Tiên trong một căn nhà hoang, cô được giải cứu nhưng rơi vào tình trạng suy sụp nghiêm trọng về tinh thần. Dù không bị thương nặng về thể xác, Tử Tiên mắc rối loạn stress sau sang chấn, sống trong sợ hãi, ám ảnh và khép mình trước thế giới. Jack luôn ở bên chăm sóc, nhưng anh nhận ra mình bất lực khi không thể xóa đi những ký ức kinh hoàng trong tâm trí cô. Tình yêu của họ đứng trước thử thách lớn nhất, không phải chia ly mà là sự im lặng và khoảng cách vô hình do tổn thương để lại. Khi mọi người tưởng cơn ác mộng đã đi qua, chồng cũ Tử Tiên lại gọi điện đe dọa đòi tiền để đổi lấy sự im lặng, cho thấy cuộc chiến vẫn chưa kết thúc. Bất ngờ, Tử Tiên chủ động đối diện với quá khứ, quyết định hợp tác với công an, kể lại toàn bộ những gì đã trải qua như một cách tự cứu lấy chính mình. Cao trào tiếp tục khi người mẹ chồng cũ xuất hiện tại bệnh viện. Quỳ gối xin tha thứ, Tử Tiên không quên những đau khổ đã chịu, nhưng cô lựa chọn không nuôi thêm thù hận bên ngoài. Mối nguy vẫn còn đó, bên trong, Tử Tiên đang chiến đấu với chính mình. Câu chuyện đặt ra một câu hỏi lớn, liệu tình yêu có đủ mạnh để giúp họ cùng nhau bước tiếp trên con đường đầy vết nứt phía trước? Cảm ơn các bạn đã theo dõi hết video. Nếu các bạn thấy hay, hãy nhấn like, chia sẻ, đăng ký kênh. Đừng quên bật thông báo để không bỏ lỡ bất cứ tập phim nào của kênh Ly Tu Tien Story. Hẹn gặp lại các bạn trong các tập tiếp theo. Bye bye!